All right.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Interpretation Book Clubs. This is our asynchronous LA Monday. We just wanted to give you information about the unit in Ben 2 about book clubs. So if you want to pause the video, get all of your materials, your Interpretation Book Clubs book, and also something to take notes on, that would be great. And then come back whenever you're ready.
Our learning goal, we will be able to raise the level of writing and reading through book clubs for each student in our classroom. We will do this by determining best practice for beginning book clubs, analyzing, determining themes, using the learning progressions, and studying sessions in Ben 2.
So just to give you a quick overview of Ben 2, this unit is really about taking ideas and linking those ideas to build bigger theories. Another thing that's really huge in this unit is having students find evidence and weigh those evidence to figure out which one strongly supports the ideas and theories that they are connecting, and also identifying the most significant themes. Your book clubs will also be able to set goals to strengthen their conversations, and they're also going to debate conflicting ideas at the end of this bend.
Next, we're going to talk about practical help with book clubs. Thinking about what are some first questions to consider. When you think about logistics, how are you going to group your students? Are you going to group them by level, interest, by personality? And also, how will students meet virtually? When will your clubs meet? Are you going to schedule specific times for them to meet within their book clubs? And are they going to be meeting on a remote platform or in person? And how much should students read in between their meetings? And how are they going to be able to communicate that with their book club group? And how will their group members handle any problems that come to surface? When your groups create their book club constitution, that would be a great time to discuss any issue handling situations. When we think about writing about reading, how do you want your students to write about their reading, and how much should they do in a week? What will they write about? And what platform will students use to do their writing about reading? Are they going to use their reading journal? Are they going to use a Google Doc or another thing that you have in place within your classroom? And then when we think about conversations, how will we begin these conversations with our students? What is this going to look like virtually? And when will students have time to share? How are you going to build that in and build that time in for your conversations into your school day? When we think about organizing our book clubs and how to organize our readers, you might decide to group them based off of the bands of text complexity. This is ensuring that all readers in this band should be working on the same thinking work specific to that band. You might also decide to organize your groups in either a face-to-face only, or maybe in a remote group only, based on the numbers and how your classroom is set up. Some classrooms might decide to use a blended format. In a blended format, students typically would meet remotely, even if they're in the classroom. So you might consider how much you want to group your students if you're using the blended model. When you're organizing your readers, you might decide too on personalities. Which students are going to be extroverts who might dominate the conversation a little bit more, and how much you want to think about grouping your readers to be able to balance out that talking. And what language supports could you provide for your readers? If you have readers who are in levels A through J, you might consider doing a read aloud book club and supporting those readers using things like thinking stems or other ways to facilitate their discussion and push those readers forward as they talk about their reading. Now we think about scheduling our book clubs. Managing book clubs can be easy once you have a plan in place. You could launch your book clubs on a Monday and schedule group meetings once a day throughout the week. This allows you to take part of the book club meeting in person or virtually while your other students are reading independently in their own book clubs. You can meet with that book club in your classroom meeting table, the carpet area, Google Meets, or even a WebEx breakout room. Then in the following Monday, you could use this as a day to review any book club commitments or sharing their writing about reading entries to facilitate a classroom discussion. Another option is similar to how you would launch your book clubs and facilitate your discussions on that Monday, but the book clubs could be scheduled to read for 15 minutes, then meeting to discuss about their reading. This allows you to meet with each group twice a week. While students meet, you could either join in and observe their conversations or conference with other book clubs to get them ready for their upcoming discussions. This allows you to meet with more students to talk about their reading rather than just once a week, like that first option. Now, another option is just making Mondays another meeting day. You might decide to switch to have opposite groups for a 3-meeting week, and then some groups might need a little bit more guidance than others, so you might decide to meet with them more often. If students are meeting once to twice a week, how are they going to communicate about their reading in between their meetings? Could they use a Padlet to share their ideas? Or what kind of transferable questions could you as a teacher post or make available for students to help guide their conversations? On this next slide, you'll see how we can even use the bands of text complexity cards to guide our students' conversations. This can also help us thinking into what can we coach into this reader, knowing about what band of text they are working on currently. All of these tools can be used as you're thinking about planning for your book clubs.
Okay, now we're going to focus about theme. Theme is a very important skill that students will be doing during this unit. So in order to help our students, you can use the strands of narrative learning progressions. What we're going to do is we're going to pause this video, and I want you to study closely level 3 and see what students are expected to do at this level. Okay, now that you have studied level 3, in order for students to determine the theme, the students are going to be writing about the life lesson the character learned during this book that they usually find at the end. In this level, students also provide some examples of how the character learned the lesson. Now we're going to study level 4. Please pause the video and see what is the difference in here. Okay, in level 4, you probably realize that students are looking at theme as one big idea. One of the questions that students will be asked, they will be asking themselves this question is, what is the story really about? So by doing this, students are analyzing that the story, the book that they're reading has multiple themes or has a theme that is represented in different parts of the book. So something that they might write is one theme in this story is that in life it is important to work together, and they will tell you at the beginning and give you evidence for that. At the middle, and then give you evidence for that. Now let's look at level 5. Please pause the video to see what's the difference and similarities between level 4 and level 5. Okay, in level 5, you can see that students are writing about multiple things. So it's not just one thing, but they're writing multiple themes, and they should be able to note or tell you how these multiple themes are represented throughout the story. They will also use story elements to describe or to tell you how the author uses story elements to support the theme. And author's craft. They will be able to write about how the author, what craft move they use to convey the meaning of the theme.
Now we're going to talk to you about each session in Ben 2. So if you want to pause the video now and turn to Ben 2 inside of your book and kind of follow along, that would be awesome. Okay, so at the beginning of this bin, you will notice if you're using the virtual lessons that the teacher uses Tia Isa Wants a Car. The anchor charts that you will need for this bin is drawing on all you know to read well and interpret text. So these anchor charts will be all used in bin 2. In session 8, you're going to begin by asking your students to read alertly. They're going to be really seeing the details and noticing what details are meaningful to begin their discussion in their book clubs. Also in session 8, you're launching book clubs. So in the share time, you want to give your students an opportunity to meet and to create a book club constitution. And the anchor chart for that is also found inside of the High Noon website. In session 8, in the small group and conferring notes, you will notice that there is a section about how to support your below benchmark readers during this time. So like Alex mentioned earlier, you can use the bands of text complexity cards to really guide your students' conversation and thinking. You can also create like a mini guided reading book club group to help them and to really guide them on having their book club conversations. So the first thing you would do is kind of have a book introduction, really going over the story elements and the characteristics of the genre. And then you will listen to them read their text and then coach in and give them lean prompts to help them with decoding and also comprehension. And then the last step would be guiding them to do their comprehension thinking using the bands of text complexity cards. In session 9, you will notice that this session is all about how we can uncover the life lessons or messages by really paying close attention to the big problems in the text. So in the mini lesson, you're going to teach your students to really notice that problems lead readers to themes. So the students are going to be really thinking about the problems that the characters are facing and list those problems and then ask themselves, like, what is the main lesson that this character is learning? What lesson is the author wanting me to learn from the problems that this character is facing? Also, you may want to flag the small group and conferring notes as another tool to use to teach your students theme. In this small group and conferring notes, and also in the mid-workshop teaching point, the students are going to notice that to find moments when the author, the character is shifting and the problems are shifting. So when they flag those moments when the characters are beginning to solve those problems, that's also going to lead to theme. In session 10, you're going to help your students understand that in your book clubs, there are going to be problems. And one of those problems is that your book club members may see characters or may see ideas and have different ideas. So one thing you're going to teach them in this bin is to learn how to agree and disagree respectfully, and also how to use evidence to back up their thoughts and their ideas. Also, you will notice in this unit, in the small group and conferring notes, that there is a anchor chart about passionate interpretations and things that they might say. So this is going to help guide their conversations about how to talk about the things that they're finding inside of their text. In session 11, you want to flag this session. This session is really important to this bin. It's all about connecting ideas to form a larger theory. So one thing that your students are going to do is they're going to reread their text, finding their ideas and seeing how those ideas fit together. They're going to be looking at patterns across ideas, like patterns in their characters or how their characters react to different problems, and then connect those to form a larger theory about their character. And then also think about how does that lead to a life lesson at the end. If you were in the calendar day, you will notice that there was a Padlet that was shared, and it included a Jamboard for you to create with your students. So if you look inside of the UBD under digital text, that Padlet is there, and you can make a copy of that Jamboard for session 11 to use with your students. Session 12 is also a very important session because you're teaching your students to think about how to grow complex ideas and really have that interpretation lens. So one thing that you're going to be teaching them is to think about, why are these ideas important? You're also going to be teaching them how to gather evidence and to find what evidence is most supported with their idea. And also think about what and change their thinking and add on to their thinking as they go along. Session 13 is so fun because the kids are going to have a chance to debate their book club members. So now what they're doing is they're taking all of the evidence that they've collected throughout the bin, and they're going to have a debate. So you can see the directions in session 13 about how to have a debate caucus. And really the biggest idea from this session is that kids are using text evidence to support their debate and their ideas. So that is all of bin 2. If you have any questions about how to launch book clubs or the big ideas and the themes and how to really get those skills across to your students, you can contact myself, Alex, or Brenda, and we will be more than happy to answer any questions you have about this unit, or you can contact your campus coach. We are so happy that you were able to watch this video, and we will see you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.